Okay, so far in this quick start series, we've figured out to key in an offer automatically through TrackDrive's offer one-click install. We modified the first buyer that install created to be our actual first buyer. I have created some traffic sources. I've pulled the traffic source phone number for a traffic source, put that payment that I'm going to pay that traffic source right in there in the payout settings. And now I've funded TrackDrive, so I'm ready to roll. At this point, if I was to give that publisher that phone number, he starts sending calls. I currently only have one buyer. If the calls fit, they're going to be routed to him. Otherwise, they'll take exception handling. So I'm going to come back in now because I've got more than one buyer. Now you could key in buyers here and then copy them into your offer. Eventually, TrackDrive is just going to have offers, reporting, and that's all we're going to have on the menu. So I'll show you the way that we're going to have you do that in the future. So I'm going to come into my Medicare offer, and I'm going to go to the call flow handling. Again, remember, this is where the good things happen. So I'm going to come here and say that I need a new buyer. So right here, I'm right in the middle of the offer on the call flow handling. That's when the call comes in, it's just going to route to my buyers. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to copy from another buyer, and I'm going to pick the guy already set up. Now, of course, the phone number is going to be different. So this guy's got me at 888-235-7676. So the number is different, but we're telling you, hey, whoops, there's another buyer with that phone number already. That's kind of an indicator of oops, something's probably still wrong, right? So I can go ahead and do that, and then this is going to be 123 Medicare. All right, so we got 123 Medicare Insurance is the company, and I'm ready to go. Again, we'll just do things in Eastern time and say next step. Now what happens at this point is it has put it on the offer for me automatically and created a copy of this guy except for what I've changed thus far. I like to click update here so that it knows I am trying to save that buyer on the call flow and then come back into it. So I didn't forget, a lot of times I see people do that step, but you have to tweak this buyer, right? So I'm going to come in here because he's a different dude. So I can either edit here in line with the offer, edit in a new window. It's up to you. I typically just edit in line. So we'll pull up that buyer here. Now I'm coming in to change some things here. So this guy does have filters. So I'm going to come in with the geographic filters. He takes every state but Alaska and Hawaii, let's say. And then maybe he doesn't take Puerto Rico is actually a country. This is something we have to remove. If you are trying to do Puerto Rico, by the way, that's in countries, just FYI. So he doesn't take these states. That means he takes everything else. So I'll go ahead and do my geographic that way that he doesn't take those states, so he's a little different there. Then maybe this guy is a prepay guy. My last buyer didn't give me money up front, but this guy, I'm taking $5,000 from him as a prepay. He will stop getting calls as soon as he uses that all up. And then in my business hours and concurrency cap, he has different hours. So maybe he's open 24 hours a day because he's really cool. I could just come in, do that and say he's got full coverage. But perhaps he is a 24-hour call center that they take scheduled appointments, or they're really can write they're the in buyer and they're actually writing the Medicare plans all day long. So they'll do that way for that guy. Oops, forgot to change his concurrency cap. So I'll come in here and say that this guy can take 50 calls a time. Now I'm going to, just because we're doing a little bit more advanced settings, I'm going to show you how flexible TrackDrive is. So I'm going to clear this off. And let's say this guy is really working Monday through Saturday, 8 to noon. And then from 2 to 5, he has 50 agents for you, right? So I do that. Now I come in and add another business hours because I didn't do lunch. So I clear that off, and from noon to 2, Monday through Friday, he can take 25 because he normally has 50 agents, but he sends half of them off for lunch. When they come back, the other half goes. So at that time of the day, he's only got 25 agents. Then after 5 o'clock, he keeps a skeleton crew. So I add in another setting, and I say from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. Eastern, he keeps 10 people on staff. Now you can, through our team collaborators, give the buyer access to change these numbers to what is head count is that day, so that you don't have to maintain that yourself. if you have enough call flow to, or a relationship with this guy that he won't, mess you up and put this at 2 or something, and you're trying to do advertising and can't get him in calls, as long as he's kind of agreeing this is my normal staff and I'm just adjusting for illness or vacation or whatever. And so maybe this guy also pays you differently. So I'm going to come in here and he's paying me 42.50. Okay. Now I do have a bunch of videos set up here under help that line up right with the buyer thing. So the top section here was called attributes. So that's the buyer attributes video. And then we got capping, and then we got business hours. So all these things I'm discussing here, I'm not going to redo like crazy, but if you do want more advanced information about how call full priority works and our call forwarding options and those things, and how to add the person as a collaborator where you can see his calls that he's taken, those are all in these videos over here. So I'm not going to rehash that in our quick start video guide. But you do have lots of videos over there correlating to how the buyer menu options are. Okay, so I have fixed this guy. Our buyers are on autosave. That's why I don't have an update button here. So we do now have the 2 buyers on here, and the way our system would work is it's going to route the calls. I have it set up to route by earnings per call by default, and I do describe that in our call flow priority. But this guy would have more chances at calls because he's currently paying 42.50. But as soon as his earnings per call drop below 35, then this guy would kick in. So I have the system set up to route by earnings per call routing. Most people would route by tier and weight manually, and that's real easy to manage. You can come up and click on buyers here, and tier and weight are showing here. If I was manual, if I want to change these guys to manual here, I'm going to come down to how I get paid, and I'm just going to come in here and say that it is, where am I at? I'm going to route by tier, and I said all my buyers tier 1, weight 1, and I do describe that later, but I'm bulk changing this from doing earnings per call routing to tier and weight routing. Now, as we're setting this all up, you can go ahead and quickly change the tiers. What I like to do is have the buyers also filtered by their offers. So I might come over here, do a new tab, and I'm going to have the same columns, but I'm going to use these filters over here to say I want to see the buyers that are on my Medicare offer. And I only have 1 offer so far on this quick start demo, but as you get Medicare going, final expense going, ACA going, U65 going, and you want to be able to find your buyers by what offers they're on, you can filter, add new tabs and filter them over here by offer. So if I put a filter on this by offer, I don't see where that is right now, but when I do a filter by offer, it will allow me to just show the buyers that are on those offers. So that's how that functions there. But these are my buyers. But you can, if you're forwarding calls from VGDial or it's inbound calls or whatever, you can actually maintain tiers right here quickly. So you don't have to edit each buyer. You can modify tier and weight here as you're trying to kind of manipulate the call flow to your buyers. But that's how you add a second buyer or more to the offer once you're running, so that you can have our system do what it's supposed to do, 1 offer per vertical, and maximize your call routing to those different buyers.